Midnight Buffet is kind of back, but kind of not. I'd heard about Midnight Buffet, and I remember on some of our early ones, like on the Breeze trip years ago, there was like, sometimes on some nights there'd be like a Mexican buffet at midnight or something like that. And I'm like, Mexican food right at midnight like that? I don't know. A little late for Mexican food in my mind, but sometimes it'd be fine. And so that had seemed to go the way of the dodo, and that was like, oh my gosh, another cost-cutting thing at Carnival that I was kind of internally whinging about. When I was on the Venezia, I think it was like on the first sea day or something, I saw on the Fun Times in the app, in the Hub app, that there was like, sort of like a midnight buffet of sorts, or late night eats, something like that. That was like from like 11:30 to like 1:30 or something like that. I didn't experience what apparently this old midnight buffet used to be like, because people came out of the woodwork in our Facebook group. Like, they were stands for this old style of midnight buffet, which apparently was this very specific thing that I never experienced even years ago. And so apparently what it used to be like is ice sculptures and carved like fruit, and it was almost elegant, and there was tons of food, and it sounded better than dinner.
Was this in the 80s?
Like, maybe. So yeah, I think it was of the 80s, where maybe it was at its height and its norm, and I don't know when it would have been eliminated. But people accused me of being a liar because like people were like, "Oh, the Midnight Buffet's back," and people were like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "Yes, it has. I ate there last week," I would say, and they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Don't tell me what I did, what I experienced.
Yeah,
I was there. I have pictures.
Yeah, I have receipts.
Actually, I don't think I did take pictures because I was always tired. Midnight.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I was just loading up on chicken tenders and honey mustard because that's pretty good. The pizza they had out wasn't that fantastic. They had some other stuff too, some sandwiches that were kind of dry. I mean, it's all under one of those salamander things, so it dries out pretty fast. But the chicken tenders were pretty good. They were tender and they were relatively moist, and I had it through a lot of the cruise. And so for me, like, it was at midnight and it was a buffet. It was buffet service. It was in the buffet. Midnight buffet.
Yeah.
Like, how could I have known that for a certain demographic of people, maybe, that like midnight buffet meant like, I don't know, put on a 3-piece suit, wear white tails? Like, how elegant was it? I don't know. How big of an event was it? I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, there's some tasty snacks available at midnight that's not pizza, and that's something to be celebrated. That's an improvement on not having that thing. So the people who are saying like it doesn't exist, I'm like, okay, like there's some nuance here, and it kind of caught me unawares because I didn't know. And so like I wasn't lying, but like, maybe it's one of those things where like if you capitalize midnight and buffet, capital M, capital B, maybe then it's like the 80s like big to do. And then like if it's lowercase, maybe that's like the new thing. That's like the cheap knockoff of that, but still kind of awesome to have.
Oh my goodness.
Like maybe that's what we need to do. I'm just thinking of this now, but I'm like, maybe that's how we can make it clear when we're talking about what kind of midnight buffet, because people got big mad.
Yeah.
Like calling me all sorts of names, and other people too, and we're all like gaslighting them and lying, and it's not the same. And I'm like, whoa, I never said it was the same. But they were like, you said it's back. And I'm like,
because Carnival said it's back. So I'm just parroting what Carnival said.
Well, and even John Heald had to take like 3 or 4 at-bats before the nuance came through. Even for me, I like to think I'm a reasonably smart and calm guy, that I was reading like the stuff that he was posting because people were sharing it at me to either bolster what I was saying or like attack me. And so it took him like a few go-rounds. He was like, okay, it's not the midnight buffet of old, but it is a buffet at midnight that has food. And then he just like gave a full list of all the food. And I found that on the Venezia, at least, there was a little bit of variance, but that was a transatlantic and whatever. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, I think that having a midnight buffet, or like, do I have to call it something else? Is there like is that the problem? Like, because like late night eats, I don't know. It's
having food late at night.
Yeah, but I think that it's a good thing to have. And these people who are like I wonder about these people who want like, the ice sculptures and fruit carvings and whatever the hell else used to apparently happen. Would they rather there be no options but pizza at that time? Would they prefer that those chicken tenders be locked away somewhere? Would that be better for them?
Obviously.
Are they just so attached and upset to this thing that's gone? And I mean, hey, I kind of get it. I miss the chocolates on the pillow. And those haven't been around for a very long time. And I'm still hung up on it a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm
not the pens.
And I like the pens too, the triangle pens. So they didn't roll. Those were great, but I'm not going to get like angry at some stranger on Facebook because like I don't get it. So yeah, like there is a form of midnight buffet. It is back. And it's kind of nice. I like it. So come at me in the comments, I guess. I mean, do you honestly think that the fact that it isn't perfect means we shouldn't have it at all? And if so, please explain. It's like, how do chicken tenders upset you? I want to know. and
Point
not
on
great
the chicken
pizza.
tenders where it hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are going to say like, oh, well, Carnival's like using this as an excuse not to do the bigger thing, or they're calling it the wrong thing, they're misleading people, false advertising. I could kind of understand
And
that.
maybe that's true.
But why get mad at me?
Yeah.
I'm not work for Carnival.
Yeah, exactly. And also but they're bringing something back. Is it the thing you wanted? Maybe not, but it's something.
Or maybe we get away from the term back and just like they're providing something that new.
Or
they're providing something.
They're bringing food back at midnight or at late at night,
Yeah.
and they didn't do that before. They cut it out during COVID or something like that, and now it is
long before that,
long before COVID, and now
I would have been a staple at those if it hadn't been necessarily, because from my experience it was almost always Mexican themed, and so like I didn't want to have like kind of spicy food like salsa and stuff right before going to sleep. So, but if it hadn't been Mexican, then I would have been there. Pretty consistently. And how do I know this? Because on the Venezia, I was there really consistently. Yeah. Like, people started remembering me, and they were like, hey, I remember you from last night. And I'm not talking staff. Yeah. I'm talking guests. And they were like, oh, you let me cut in front of you last time, so it's your turn. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Sure, thanks.
But it's like, Carnival will bring things back or
change them or
change them or
things.
whatever. But let's go back. Let's use the word back, because they'll start like they've reintroduced, let's say, a thing that they removed previously for whatever reason, and they're reintroducing it, repackaging it.
We could call it the lesser midnight buffet.
And so is it not exactly what you wanted? No, but it's again, we're reintroducing something. Yeah. So how about we just celebrate progress and not worry so much about perfection? And
you can still bang down Carnival's door, but you can do it without like attacking your fellow cruisers. Be like, hey, great that you brought this back. Some watermelon would be great. Add watermelon to it, please. Like, maybe like incremental improvements or something. Maybe we can slowly get some of those things you want back. But I mean, did carving fruit, like carving a flower into the side of a watermelon, really make like that much of a difference to you? They still do that at different times. Yeah. Generally, like a sea day where they do like the chocolate extravaganza. That's where I often see it. Yeah. So you still get that experience, and okay, it's kind of fun. It's nice to see, and it maybe warms your heart and entertains you and stuff, and that's nice. But like, does that provide you the same value as like food? And so maybe like, let's advocate for, okay, cool, Carnival, now like, but we want more options. Yeah. Like, maybe more vegetarian, gluten-free. Yes. For example.
Definitely the gluten-free.
And things like that, because sometimes I have a little bit of fruit out and stuff, but it's like the pizza's not gluten-free, and the chicken tenders aren't like, vegan or whatever. Well, neither is. And certainly not vegetarian. The deli isn't gluten-free. The deli closes like 10 or 11 depending on your ship and sailing. Sure. And so for the midnight thing, like, you could expand it a little bit. Yeah. Bring out some chocolate milk or something. I know where you keep them. I've gone in there on occasion and grabbed a chocolate milk one. Maybe I shouldn't. There's chilled things that sometimes under the buffet. And so like, get somebody to grab one of those and put it out. Yeah. That's not a huge, like, and then like, is it a huge expense if people consume it? I don't know, but I think that, like, I think we can advocate for something being better while still giving a tiny bit of grace and appreciation for the fact that we're given something that we haven't had for many years. Yeah. Or ever, depending on how you want to define the whole bloody thing. It's funny how people get worked up over something as silly as chicken tenders, though. Yeah.